If you've been wondering what it looks like to trade less time tutoring for making passive income in your Teachers Pay Teachers store, well, you're in luck today because I have my TPT Mastermind student Lisa here to explain to you all about where she was in her journey with her full time tutoring business to now making her first $1,200 in the past 3 months on TPT. And she's going to share how she's done it all even with zero social media. The most exciting part for me is that she's going to explain to you that it's totally possible without a teacher Instagram account. So thanks so much for being here, and I hope you enjoy the interview. Hi, Lisa. Thanks so much for being here.
Hi, Molly. Thank
I
you for
know
having me.
I know my audience is just dying to hear from you because I talk about you all the time on Instagram because you have had some really great success just starting your TPT store. But before we get started, can you just let everybody know your background and how you got to where you are now with your current business?
Yeah, sure. So I have my master's in special education. So I taught K through 12. I started at the elementary level and then to the high school level and then decided to go back to the elementary level. So taught for 12 years and then decided that I wanted to kind of venture out and start my own tutoring business. So I'm about 2 years in full time on the tutoring business and it's been great. So
That
yeah.
blows my mind because that's how we met was through tutoring, and you wanted to leave the classroom or your job at the time. And I can't believe it's been almost 2 years.
I know, I
That's
know.
insane. So, what were you doing in your life? I know you left teaching, you were running your tutoring business full time from home, right? You're doing most of your tutoring from home, but going to some kids' houses too.
Yeah, I would go into their homes or into the schools, and then I would tutor as well.
So, what kind of led you to the point of wanting to start your TPT store? What kind of headspace were you in at that time?
I think, well, a couple of years ago when we had first met, I was really intrigued by starting my own TPT store. I already had a lot of products that I thought, I could maybe sell, but I just didn't know how to do it. And so I went ahead and purchased your Zero to Cha-Ching course, and I watched all of the videos, and then I found out I was having a baby. So my priorities kind of shifted. It was always in the back of my mind, but I just didn't do anything with it. And so when my daughter turned 1, then I decided that I was ready to kind of jump back in. I had tried like I tried to hire someone to see if that would work. And I just wasn't ready yet. I'm not ready for the hiring process or training someone to do the tutoring. So I just felt like this was a great use of time. I could do it on my own time in between naps or in between tutoring sessions, and it's been working out really well. So
I think that's one of the biggest questions I'll get from people is how do you squeeze making your TPT products in? So I kind of want to ask you that question because you do a really great job being a mom. You're running a full-time tutoring business and trying to do everything else in between and balance your family life. So what does a typical day look like where you are creating TPT products?
I don't have a lot of time to create. I wish I did, but I would say I know the day before. I plan the day before on the time that is allotted for the day after, and I just sit down distraction free and I work on my stuff. And I usually have a plan in place on what I want to create, and that's um like creating the product itself is the hardest part. That takes the most time. And then from there, then if there's like a cancellation for a tutoring session, or there's, a quick, my daughter's sleeping a little extra time, I'll work on it then. But I really only can work on it right now about 1 to 3 maybe hours a week. I don't have a lot of time. So right now I'm just working on kind of editing some of the products that I currently have, and then I'm anxious to get started on some new products to create.
I think that's really good for a busy teacher or somebody that is tutoring full time like you are running a business to hear, because a lot of times we think that we have to have all this time to actually make money on TPT, and you're living proof that you just really stuck with a plan. Like you said, I love how you said the day before you kind of map out what you're going to work on so that when you do
Mhm.
sit down in the little pockets of time between a client or when your daughter's napping, you know what you're working on and you're not wasting time trying to think of something that's actually going to work. So
Right.
you're a great example of that. And I'm glad you share. Thank you for sharing kind of your process, because I think people want to hear that and see how
Yeah.
different schedules look.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
Okay, so you were at a point where you knew you wanted to have kind of more passive income. Your tutoring business was at capacity. You didn't want to hire somebody to take on tutoring clients, but you wanted to kind of trade all those hours that you're working so hard for money. So is that what I guess led you to joining the mastermind? Because you mentioned you had taken my course, but you were in a place in life where you were ready for the next step with coaching. So can you kind of talk about that? What was kind of the deciding factor for you to join the mastermind?
Yeah, I think I had reached out to you to just see. I knew that I wanted to do something with teachers pay teachers, and I didn't really know the right route. I talked to you about maybe some one-on-one coaching. You had talked to me about the group coaching or the mastermind that you had. I thought it was perfect for what I needed. I knew that I could email you with questions that I had, kind of go through the course on my time. We met bi-weekly and it was just for an hour. So I felt like I could get my questions answered live with you, but also, it wasn't taking up too much of my time. And so it felt like the right fit. And I said, okay, good to go. Let's do it. And it's been so helpful. And I think just having you to, you go through the course and you have all of these questions and just like little tweaks you need to make, or how do you make it this size, or how do you make it a PNG, all of those things.
Mhm.
And so it's just nice to talk to you one-on-one or in that small group setting, to get those questions answered.
Yeah, bringing your questions, you're always really great about that. And you're good at emailing too. And I notice like the times that I can tell that you've got a little window of time, your daughter's taking a nap, I happen to be at my computer, I can answer you back quickly. And that's one of my favorite parts about the mastermind too, is that if you have a question that pops up and it's unique to your business, you're going to get an answer a lot quicker versus
Right.
self-paced. We do have a private Facebook group and you can put questions in there, but this is more customized to everybody in the group's business, and you can get help from me and people in the group too.
Right.
Okay,
Yes.
love that. So I guess you mentioned you had tried the self-paced course and you did have some success with that, but you really were the kind of person that was like, okay, I want to be able to ask questions and get kind of that live help, so to speak. So I guess
Mhm.
that was the determining factor for you. You just wanted to have coaching, but was there anything about group coaching that you were hesitant about?
I always like the one-on-one just because I know that, it's ideal for you. But I did end up really liking the group coaching because I was able to get everyone else's ideas, all of their questions as well, kind of see what they're up to and how they go about their process of creating. And I don't know, it worked out really well. And I liked, I mean, all of the templates that you share. It was just a way to, see how you do things in the course, but then get an explanation of why those templates are there, or why those say certain things in the videos. So it was just good to have that group around you.
And you're really good about if there isn't a lesson, you'll ask me for one, or I shared a template with you and you said, can we do one of the coaching calls about that template? So that's like next on my agenda is to do a training
Yeah.
with that for you. So it's definitely more tailored to specific needs of the people in the group. And I always joke that it's kind of like hand holding, but I mean that in the nicest way possible because that's what a lot of people really need when they're
Mhm.
starting a store and trying to grow it is someone to kind of like whisper in their ear, okay, this is what you need to do next, or this is what I would fix. So
You
you're
do.
like a
You
star
just
student for that reason.
Oh, thanks. No, you do. You just need that little extra push and extra motivation, accountability. And I think having that group around you and having you there to kind of guide you on, okay, here are your next steps. It was easily laid out and it was easy to follow.
Awesome. I love to hear that.
Yeah.
Okay, so one big question that we have gone live before on Instagram together, and people were so curious about your results have been really amazing for someone that does not have a social media presence built up for their TPT store. So I have a few questions about that because I know there's a lot of hesitation about starting a TPT store because we think that we have to be these big teacher influencer accounts. And in reality, you don't. And you're living proof of that. So, what would you say to someone that says, I want to start my TPT store, but I'm afraid of going on social media?
It's one of my biggest concerns too. Like, do I need social media to make this actually happen? That was a worry of mine before even signing up. But I think I think what I'm still learning. I'm still learning about how to, title my products and all of those things. But I think the biggest thing is just I just look at what would I use as a teacher and how can I be authentic to myself? Is this something that I would actually use? And that has guided me really well so far. And I think helping with like the SEO and like I said, like titling the products or naming certain things in the product description, that all is very helpful. And eventually, I think to be able to grow this more, I may have to venture out into some Pinterest or some Instagram or some other ways. But for now, I mean, it's been so great just utilizing the products that I already used in my classroom. I think niching down has also helped a lot. I think if you go to my store, you know exactly what my products are going to be, or how they relate to the program that I teach. And so I think being able to niche down your store and not just have random products here and there is helpful too.
I totally agree. And we've talked you and I before about adding Pinterest down the road, and you don't have to have social media for that. And so that'll be really great for your sales. And then long form content, if you have a blog post that talks about a problem teachers have, and one of the solutions is your product, and then a pin that links to that blog post, it really does increase your sales. And so those are all things teachers just like you can do that doesn't involve social media. But I do think it does help later down the road. Like if you wanted to take your store full time for people to know the face behind the store, but it's definitely not necessary. And there's plenty of faceless accounts that are killing it. So just like yours.
Yeah, and
Thanks
they
for,
introduced a new incentive program too. So I'm excited to see what that's all about with Teachers Pay Teachers. So I think they changed it up a little bit this year. So I'm
yes.
almost there.
Stuff is always changing, and I think that's why the mastermind is such a great thing because then I'm constantly having to learn too alongside you guys. And then when things like you're mentioning the incentive program pop up, then we get to talk about it in a live setting and get questions answered. And whatever I'm not an expert at, I bring someone to the coaching calls that is. Like Janice just came last week and did data mining with the group. And so those are things that I'm never going to claim to be an expert on, but I can certainly find friends that are. So that's another part of the mastermind as well that I wanted to mention is that sometimes we have very specific coaching calls, just like last week. data mining. And that is one thing that you don't have to have social media to learn how to do with your store, is going back in and seeing, okay, these are the sales that worked really well. What kind of other pieces of marketing could I create to position these products well in the market? And so I'm looking forward to you catching up on that episode, because I thought of you the whole time. I was like, oh, Lisa's gonna love this one.
I know. I'm halfway there, halfway through.
Awesome. Okay, so thanks for sharing that about social media, because I know that's a big concern. I'd love for you to share some of the results you've had since you've been in the mastermind, so you can kind of inspire people that they can do it too. So would you mind sharing?
Yeah, so I've had about 3 full months now, and I made just over $1,200 in sales,
Yay.
and I am just about $20 away from hitting my first incentive mark, which is the $1,000 mark.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh, that's so
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, you've been one that's been really like great about messaging me every time you kind of hit a big milestone, and it just makes me like jump up and down for you, because I know like the amount of work you've put into your store is really starting to pay off, and it's slow and steady wins the race. Like you said, a couple hours a week, 3 months later, you've had these amazing results.
Yeah, and I think too, you start to see it little by little. I think my first goal was the $60 basic seller account.
Yeah,
I just wanted to be able to pay for the teachers pay teachers. And then, the next I had like my first $100. So it's really cool to see the progression of it all. And I know that with more and more products that it'll only continue. So
I
I'm
love
excited.
that. If somebody was on the fence about joining the mastermind, what would you tell them?
I think you just have to decide and you have to believe in yourself. And I just think that if you have any question that this is something that, if you think that this could be successful, I think you just have to jump in, believe in yourself and go for it. I mean, it can't hurt anything. I think Molly's been great. She's super helpful. All of your questions will be answered probably the day, by the day after. Um, so I think it's been a great opportunity.
And I know you don't have a big teacher social media account right now, but if somebody wanted to get in touch with you, where could they find you?
Oh boy. I guess they could just email me. Let's do that. Or I mean, I am on Instagram. They can I don't even know my Instagram account, but I can give you my email. It's lmgiesman20@gmail.com.
I'll be sure to put those both down below, and you have a private account, but if they wanted to send you a message, they could do that on Instagram, right?
Yes, of course. Yep.
All right. Well, this has been so wonderful. And the next round of the mastermind is in June, July, and August. So you can get on the wait list by clicking the link below. And I'm so grateful for you, Lisa. Thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome. Thanks, Molly.
Isn't Lisa the absolute best? She has been a star student inside of the TPT Mastermind. And just remember, she did start out inside of the self-paced course from zero to cha-ching, and life events happened with having a baby and growing her tutoring business. So she knew that she wanted group coaching. And because she had already been in the self-paced course, I was able to take the price of the course off the mastermind for her. So that's always a deal that I'll honor for you too. And remember, you can get on the wait list for the summer mastermind, whether you're a beginner or advanced, and that is in the link below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next week.